prone to it. You know, as you get older, you start understanding it more. It becomes,
yeah, the understanding and the knowledge and the acceptance of it and the awareness of it is at an all-time high thanks to the internet. You know, there are still some misconceptions out there. Like I was online telling somebody last night that autism is not a lack of intelligence, it's a lack of the ability to communicate the intelligence. It's not a lack of it. A lot of people are like, oh, these kids are not. No, they're actually probably smarter than us.
Well, a lot of
memory.
And a lot of this stuff, right? Because even, and I hate to use this example, but tell me, and now that I said that, I can't remember the example because it's that movie with Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, Rain Man.
Rain Man, that's right. Right, because he's autistic.
Oh, sure,
correct?
for sure.
So and some a lot of times they'll have some specific talent that they excel at.
Correct.
And
like
have
math.
this like math,
Mathematics.
especially mathematics, because that's all minds, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and conceptual, they can music. Another, which is mathematical.
Yeah.
You know, and so they have this ability. So it's not, again, so it's not a thing about intelligence as much as just communication.
This is something too. I know a kid recently. He used to work at a place that I used to work at, and he was a very nice kid, but you could always tell there was something off. Okay. Now he recently came out to my girlfriend. And he's down, and my girlfriend goes, "Hey, what's wrong?" He goes, "I went to the doctor," and he's like 18, 19. He goes, he thinks I have Asperger's, and I went, that is amazing when you start seeing somebody like kind of recognize. Just to me, it's like recognizing that. I thought that was the most extraordinary thing, you know, like you know, nice guy and very nice kid, you know, but once he realizes that, because it's like Asperger's is on the autism spectrum. Am I correct? It's like on
the high end, like 20% of people with autism are going to be Asperger's.
Yeah.
Which is just a fancy name for high functioning autism.
Again, something about autism, like my own son has, I'm trying to think what my wife, but kind of like a textural thing, you know.
Sensory issues.
Sensory issues, that's what, yeah.
Sensory
that's in that spectrum
sure,
also.
Yeah, so
it?
most people with autism have sensory issues and tactile issues with their clothing, with being around other people, being touched, things they put in their mouth. All their senses are out of whack. So for us three, our senses are always working together and pretty well balanced. But for the person with autism or stuff like that, their hearing and their sight, their touch, their taste, their smells, a lot of that's out of whack. So they have what we call sensory issues, where they're interacting and experiencing the world and their reality in a much more distorted, different way than the normal neurotypical person is, especially with hearing and food and touch.
That's a term I've never heard before, neurotypical.
So that's just a fancy word for normal.
I know, but I had never heard that. Yeah. I had never heard that.
I live in this world.
I understand.
We're neurotypicals. You know, even though I don't think of myself as neurotypical. Neuro strange.
You know, have you noticed your son? Like, is his attitude gotten better with all the videos and all the support that's come through? And like, have you noticed like just a different change with him? Or
it's a great question. You know, he's not functioning at any level where he can actually verbally communicate any of his feelings whatsoever.
Okay.
Now he will communicate in certain ways if he's sad or angry or if he wants something. He will come out and certainly tell you that. But any deeper feelings of his emotions, I mean, you're never really going to hear about that. However, there's been an increase in his level and desire to want to steal his mom's iPhone or my iPhone so he can go on Facebook, so he can go on social media, especially YouTube, and he can watch those videos. And what he likes to do, and people with autism they like constant repetition. We call it stimming. And they have this obsessive compulsive type of behavior where they just want to watch the same 10-second scene over and over and over. Pause, rewind it, pause, rewind it, pause, rewind. And they'll do that for hours.
that's cool.
Hours and hours.
Wow.
Hours. It's called stimming, self-stimulatory behavior. Now, we neurotypicals, we will sometimes do that with different things that we will do, like we'll listen to the same song or watch the same video or same TV scene. But typically we move on during our day, but not the person with autism. They may get stuck doing the same thing, like a record player skipping. So, you know, to getting to your question, he likes to, what I've seen it increase is he loves to go on the YouTube, specifically on the Facebook, on the iPhone. He doesn't do it on his iPad. He doesn't do it on a laptop as much, but he wants to go on the iPhone and just watch the same scene. And he also distorts the sound and the pitch of the audio so you can listen to it and watch it in slow motion. And that gets back to the sensory issues, that their experience, their reality in a far more different way. So it's not unusual for me to catch him watching something that sounds like this, and it's really slow and distorted. And he likes to watch like Dean Martin and Gene Autry sing songs in slow motion.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Well, who
the
doesn't?
strangest- Yeah, well, who doesn't? Yeah. So
Is it, like, how would he how would a kid, everybody, a kid at 18, get exposed to Gene Autry? I mean, it doesn't happen.
yeah, he loves Christmas music. So every time
Oh, I guess that makes sense, yeah.
Christmas music comes around, he watches these things on YouTube. And literally the other day, at least for 2 hours, he was listening to Gene Autry sing Frosty the Snowman in slow motion.
That makes sense, yeah.
And I'm like,
That's amazing.
why is he doing this?
Is that something that you would discourage, or you accept, or how does that?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the golden big question we as parents, we struggle with is how long do we allow our special needs children, our child with autism to engage in self-stimulatory repetitious behavior?
It's,
Oh,
yeah, because
we try and, we try and
because
minimize
obviously
that.
he's enjoying it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he is enjoying it, but what is he getting out of it? Is it healthy for his mind and his body? So you have to, our golden rules, like when you get over 2 hours or 3 hours, we got to try and transition for him to do something else.
Well,
So take him out.
then it's kind of compulsive then, right?
Yeah, so I buy him a jigsaw puzzle, or I'm like, let's go, I'll tickle you on the bed, or let's have you try and draw something, or try and transition to do other things. But yeah, it's not unusual for him to engage in repetitious behavior on any of his electronic devices for long periods of time in any given day. So school is an integral part of him during his day and his years, and he's actually been in school since he was 2 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. In the home and out of the home. So when I say school, we don't use the word school. We call it therapy. But even then, back then, we're teaching him actively all the way back to age 2. He was diagnosed at a 1.5 years. So.
Well, okay, so Unilad picked up.
Yeah, that's good.
Unilad
It's
picked
good
up
information.
So Unilad picked up your videos, and that's what made it go viral.
Yeah,
right, correct?
well,
And
it's a
Facebook.
little bit more to that. Like it was on YouTube for a 1.5 years, and it would get like a couple hundred views a week and stuff. And then somebody shared it on Reddit in September, and it got 400,000 views in one day because somebody shared it on Reddit, which I don't even use. And so that when that happened, I got contacted by over 20 agencies that manage viral videos around the world.
That's
They're all
nuts.
promising me all these great things.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
We were talking about
Yeah,
that.
so
That's yeah.
Agencies make videos go viral. So anytime you see Unilad or stuff going viral on Facebook, there's an agency behind it making that happen. Now, don't get me wrong. Anyone could put something on Facebook and it could go viral, but it typically is not. It would have to be.
But they can't
shared.
make something go viral that's not interesting.
Yeah, they only latch on to things that they know are being that the audience is already there, and the audience is already, like in my video, they could already tell that people were very personally, emotionally attached to it on YouTube and on Reddit. So they're like, wow, this could be something huge, and it did turn out to be something huge. But in the end, it's you have to balance of what your motivation is. Why do you want it to go viral? Is it can't be for money. It has to be about
But if your point,
awareness.
but if your point is, if the reason why you're doing it is to educate, then the more people you reach, the more you're educated.
That's what's been going on with the videos. Again, it's bringing like this whole different, world and perspective to other people. Has any autism awareness associations contacted you? and you tried to?
Yeah, I'm getting all kinds of companies that contact me and want me to be a part of this or part of that, or endorse this product, or talk about this or that, or join this group, or different things like that. So I get emails from people a couple times a week from all over the world. But mostly all the emails are just from parents saying, you know, thank you for giving us hope and perspective. We're really struggling. Our kid was just diagnosed, or our kid's nonverbal. He's 7, 8 years old. He still has never said a word, and you know, you've given us hope, like let's see.
Hashtag me too.
Yeah, yeah.
I hate to make a joke about it, but
It's a little different than that, Stephen.
no, but I mean that people are.
But shush.
Yeah, you don't feel so alone.
No, I'm saying they're matching.
yeah,
you know, they're saying, "Hey, this is my experience also."
I had one the other day said, I live in rural somewhere, and I've never heard of autism. I don't know anybody with autism. My kid was just diagnosed with autism. They have nothing to touch. So they go on the internet, they end up on YouTube, they end up on my page, and they're like, oh my God, like, wow, okay. I don't feel so grim and so dark about this, my child's future, you know? Mm-hmm. I was trying to teach people, you got to understand, you got to keep it all in perspective, you know?
Well, God bless you, Chad. I mean, any of the parents who go through that, you guys are the toughest people in the world. It seems like it could be an incredible strain, but at the same time, a blessing.
Well, being a parent is hard enough.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then having these issues that you have to, because obviously even again, neurotypical. And I don't know if my kids fall into that. As I mentioned, my son Joe has some sensory issues, and his mom's always, since he's been a little baby, she's always kind of try to get him diagnosed, because that's another hard thing. Well, what's going on here with this? You know, and what you're talking about is the spectrum of autism. So it's
very wide.
Yeah. So it's
wide
the difference between like your son and then these minors. I wouldn't call, but sensory issues that have it. It's on the spectrum, but it's how it affects them is different.
Yeah. We've my mother and I and some other people, we're now looking back and saying, you know, was my father, he's still alive, he's 80 years old, but he's always been he's very loner and a little bit antisocial, not a lot of friends and stuff. And
because nobody would even.
Maybe he's on the spectrum of some sort, high functioning, you know, Asperger's. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense though, right? Because because then they back in the day, it just was your personality.
Yeah.
They didn't try to diagnose it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people that are getting, like what you were saying earlier, that there's a lot of people now that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, or even 60s, and they're learning much later in life that they are on the spectrum, because now it's clearly defined what Asperger's is, what autism is, and the characteristics of it. That, okay, if this person has always been antisocial, has been a loner, and really has high anxiety in social situations and eye contact, you know, those two things right there are clear signs that they may be on the spectrum, because that's just not normal behavior. It is normal behavior to have eye contact with someone when you're talking with them, and it's normal behavior to socialize. We're human beings, we're social beings. And then the other aspects of it being repetitious behavior and certain learning disabilities, inability to communicate and stuff.